Hello everyone, and how are we all doing? It's another special week. My name is Adora Gold, so I'm bringing to you another special topic called validation. Why do we need validation? And how validation can lead to emotional bankruptcy. Do we really need validation to be able to progress in life? Do we really need somebody to tell us how we feel, or somebody's thought to be something we have to accept, or something that will cause us to feel we're being accepted? You don't need validation, sweethearts. Validation is for parking tickets. If you don't renew your ticket, if you don't validate your ticket, you will get a ticket. Sometimes validation can be a good thing, and in most cases is a bad thing, because people use it as a tool for emotional bankruptcy. What is validation? Validation is act of seeking for recognition or affirmation to make you feel worthwhile. It's like another person's thought towards you, or an acceptance to somebody else towards you. Do we really need that? Sometimes it's good for somebody to have an opinion about who you are, what you do, what you have to do, and all the rest of it, and the things that you do. But in most cases, people use it as an emotional blackmail, or rather, I'm putting it in a way I'm putting it in another context, or in different way. It could be a way of emotional bankruptcy. And today I'm going to be speaking about three elements that you need to consider. And those three elements are: number one, let's say you're a bank. What do you do in the bank? You withdraw, you deposit, and you have a balance, isn't it? So today I'll be using the balance, the withdrawal, and the deposit as an illustration for you to figure out if you actually need validation. Number one, we have to start with withdrawal. How do people withdraw from you? Let's say you have a card. The card belongs to you. It's your private, it's something private for you. You're not supposed to share your card with anyone. You're not supposed to share your PIN with anybody. But when you give somebody your card to withdraw for you, then you've given somebody the room to manipulate you. You've given somebody the room to have authority over you. You've given somebody the room to have an opinion. You've given somebody the room for their thoughts to have power over you. So all you need to do sometimes is to pull back. We all need our space. You need to pull back and have your space. We need to safeguard our space. I've been in a situation whereby I allowed people to withdraw from me. I gave people the room to withdraw for me. And what did they do? They mess it up. You need to safeguard your space. When you don't do so, people will take advantage of it. Let me give you a story. I've been opportuned to help few people. I've been opportuned to keep people in my home. But if I tell you that the mess I got into in one occasion, that up to date, I still don't know the beginning and the end of that case. Just because I allow somebody to come into my home, I allow somebody to invade my space. So that cost me a lot of issues. I went through stress for like a year or a year plus. And up till now, if I tell you that I know the reason what happened took place, I still don't know. But when you look at it, it's because I allowed somebody to come into my space. We need to actually safeguard our space. It's not hatred. It's not like you don't have to be nice. Somebody said, my home is not a hostel. I used to make my home a hostel, but I don't do that anymore. As you grow, when you're a child, you behave like a child. But when you grow up, you behave like an adult. So now, safeguarding your space doesn't mean you can't have visitors. You can't still help people. No, but you have to know your lane so you don't get into a mess. That's that one. Number 2 on withdrawal. So you can't detect for me when to get over things. You can't come up and say, oh no, you need to get over it. When you've emotionally bankrupt me, then you want me for excessive withdrawals. So you want me to get over it. Why should I get over it in your own time? Why shouldn't I get over it in my own terms? So you need to allow me to heal. You need to allow me to have my space. But when you don't do that, people tend to feel they intend to blackmail you. But for me, I call it emotional bankruptcy. Because you've allowed yourself for people to withdraw so much from you, so it becomes a problem and they feel it's their right. So we need to actually safeguard our space so people don't withdraw from us. So if you get withdrawn, what happens? Then you have an empty account. You have an empty bank. So that's on withdrawal. Then we go next to deposit. When you make a deposit, it's for you. You keep it. You use it for your own expense. So in terms of deposit, if, let's say, use the same money illustration. If you have so much deposit, you have purpose for the deposit. The reason you kept it is because, just in case something happened later, in case rainy day, you have something to fall back on. But if someone comes and say, no, I need something from you, and it's not okay for you to give, it's okay to say no. Regardless if you have it. The reason you have deposit is for you to keep it for your own use when you need it. But if you allow yourself or people to bring their emotional blackmail, then you end up being withdrawn so much. But your deposit is for you. You can tell somebody, look, I love you with the love of God. And if I have, I will help you. But right now, I don't have. So that I have it in the bank doesn't mean that I have to give you what I have. No. When they come up to you and ask you and try to make you feel bad, just tell them, I refuse to allow your brokenness to project my sanity. No, I'm not going to allow you to do that. I understand you have issues. I understand you have problems. But I have mine, and I'm not going to allow yours to disturb my mental health. You need to make it straight. You need to speak to the person direct and say, look, listen, I love you, but this is what it is. If you're my friend, I want you to do this. If you're my family, I want you to do this. Whatever I have is for me. So don't try to withdraw from me when I'm not ready to give you. So that could be in different things. That could be in what they say to you. That could be in the way they act towards you. That could be in the thoughts they have towards you. So don't allow yourself to be in a position where you will be withdrawn. Just deposit yourself, keeping yourself, self-love, self-respect. It's not something bad. It's not a bad thing. Have your space. Safeguard yourself. Safeguard your family. It's not a bad thing. We tend to try to remove something from somebody's eyes when we have ours. I don't know how the parable goes. When you have something in yours, but you try to remove from somebody's eyes. I have the right to say no. If I can offer help, I do offer help. But if I can't, I don't have to do anything. And setting up a boundary, setting up a standard. You can't do this to me. You can't say this to me. These words are not acceptable for me. You have to say direct. More of deposit is about saying this is for me. I have a deposit. I have something in the bank for me. It's for my family. I'm not going to touch it. That you have the love of God in you or the love of Christ, and you You say no doesn't mean that you're a bad person. No, you're not a bad person. You need to set up a standard and said no. And your no, regardless of what happens, even if family members get involved, you still need to say no. Continue to say no. Let your word be your word. It doesn't make you a bad person. Our families can be the worst. We have narcissists in our homes. There's nothing that you do that is right in front of them. If they don't bring spiritual, they bring cultural. If they don't bring cultural, they bring tradition. You don't do anything right in their eyes just because you're not offering. Once you start offering, then you become a better person, especially those in Africa. We that are outside Nigeria. When you don't give, it's as if, oh, the earth will let loose. No. We need to learn how to say no. Sometimes I have to give everything that I have and be left with nothing just because I don't want to feel bad. But no, you have to feed your own children. You have to be okay for yourself. And if you check it, they're actually living well. And they emotionally blackmail us. I call it emotional bankruptcy, which is good. We need to stop it. We need to look after ourselves first. We need to consider ourselves and our family. We need to consider our children. And stop being vulnerable to these people just because we are looking for validation. You don't need validation. You don't need somebody to say you're a nice person. You don't need somebody to say you're good. You're good, you're good. You're nice, you're nice. You know you're doing everything. Then we'll go to the third one of the elements of emotional bankruptcy, which is balance. Now, when we talk about balance, when I was a child, I spoke like a child. But now that I'm an adult, I put away childhood things. We have to learn how to put away things. Are you offended because I said no? Never allow yourself to be in a position where they have to make you choose. What did I mean by that? They have to make you say, oh, because of what they think, because of what they want. Then you have to be in a position, they blackmail you, then you feel, oh, maybe I should do it. No. Leave your balance. Leave it. If you've been withdrawn so much, if you had a lot of deposits, you've been withdrawn so much, the rest of the balance, keep it for yourself. Leave it there. If they get offended because you're saying no, it doesn't matter. It still doesn't matter. One of the most powerful words or an authority an adult can have is to have the power to say no when necessary. Have the power to say no. Have the power to stand on your feet. Have the power to say to stand and let your decision be your decision, regardless of how you're being pushed, regardless of how somebody projects their problem to you. You have the power to say no. Have a limit. Everybody should have a boundary. You should let them understand, this is my boundary. We have to learn how to have self-confidence, self-love, accepting ourselves. Don't allow somebody to accept you to be able to feel you belong. Don't allow somebody to put yourself in a position where somebody have to be the one to validate you, to tell you you look good, you do. No, you know you look good. You know you're good. Don't bring down your self-esteem, because people tend to use it to bring you down. Because if somebody comes and tells you, oh, your lipstick is too loud, or oh, her makeup today is too loud, it's okay. It's your choice. It's the way you like it. Some people like to wear shorts and some people like long dresses. It's their choice. Because you wear a long dress and I'm wearing a short skirt doesn't make me a bad person. I've seen women that their self-esteem is zero. If you don't tell them their hair is good, I'm into beauty, so I see them every day. You have to, if you dress their hair or let's say you do their makeup and they're like, oh, I think it's too loud. Oh, I don't know what my colleagues is going to say. Oh, I don't like what my man is going to say. Fine. If your man likes it a little bit nude, not too loud, just keep it minimal. Just tell your artist, oh, please, could you just minimize it? Could you make it natural for me so that I'll be comfortable around my man? Or I could be comfortable because of myself. So I don't like it loud. Some people like very loud makeup and some people like it very natural, very nude. Some people don't even want to notice it. They don't want anybody to notice that they're wearing makeup. It's their style. But don't allow somebody to tell you, oh, why is your makeup like that? Oh, why is your hair like that? It's the way you like it. It's how you want it. So don't allow somebody's thoughts to affect your feelings. Don't allow somebody's thoughts to be a problem for you. Also, don't allow somebody to make you feel that they're entitled to your life just because they're your family members, just because they're your friends. No, don't do that. Please don't do that. Don't allow them to think it's their entitlement to be able to talk to you anyhow, to be able to say whatever they like, to say whatever they like. You need to move beyond that. You need to move beyond what people think. You need to move. I've said it over and over again. Don't care. The two strong words. You don't care about what people say. You don't want to know what they're saying. If you keep listening to what people are saying, if you keep listening to what they think, then you're never going to make it in life. Your appetite changes. The things that used to excite you, they don't anymore. Let's say you used to work, you don't have a car, and all of a sudden you bought a car. Before, when you used to work, when you used to take a bus, take a train, you used to be like, oh, one day I'm gonna drive, one day this is what I want, I wish for this. But the minute you start driving, then that's it. Things don't excite you anymore. Cars don't excite you anymore because you're already there. It means that you can't please everyone. You can't please everyone. You need to be yourself. You need to try and be who you are. Don't try to please somebody because of what they will say. Don't try to please somebody because they're going to make you feel bad. Don't put yourself in a position where somebody will have to make you feel that way. Because you're grown now. Your appetites have changed. The way you see things have changed. It's self-respect. It's not, what do you call it? What do they call it in Nigeria? It's not posing. It's not, she too they pose. She too they feel. She too they do this one. Who does she think she is? What makes her think this way? Only her. She does this. What for? They show herself. It doesn't matter. It still doesn't matter what they think. Oh, she's doing this now. I know some people are like, is she now talking? Like, what's going on? She should just go and sit down. I don't care. As long as I'm passing the message to those that need it. Because there are things I didn't know. But as I grow older, I get to know them. And I want to educate other people. There's some people that they need thoughts. They need things. You need to tell them things. You need to speak a word for them to change. You need to speak a word to transform them. You need to say a word to make them feel better. You need to say a word for them to be able to rethink positively. Because we might think, okay, we're doing something bad. Meanwhile, you're not doing something bad just because of what the other person will tell you. And sometimes it's because we need them to feel good. I've been in a position whereby I have to please everybody and displease myself. So now that I'm like, no, I'm not doing it. I have to please myself first. I come first. Because what people do is they get to suck you. And when they suck you, and the day you say no, automatically you're a bad person for the rest of 1 million years. But it still doesn't matter. I'm not saying you should not be able to help. But don't allow somebody to emotionally blackmail you to be able to just because you need validation. You don't need validation. You don't need somebody to tell you you're doing something right. You know your conscience. You should know what is right. We all know. Our instinct tells us when we've done something bad, regardless if we don't accept it, but you still need, you just know you've done something terrible. Don't allow somebody to speak into your life. You have to put yourself in a speed dial. Did you hear what I said? You have to put yourself in a speed dial. And finally for today, I choose the word that I eat. I choose the word that you can pass to me. I choose what you can say to me. There are things you can't say to me. There are things that are not acceptable to me. And you have to respect me for who I am. If you judge me based on material things, if you judge me based on hearsay, you're just going to miss out on who I am. You're just going to miss out a good person that I am. Even though if you think I'm not, but it still doesn't matter. So I've come to the end of this show today, and I hope I've made somebody happy, and I hope I've motivated somebody to Every week I'm going to have a topic to share. It's just for us to all, feel happy, and some things we don't pay attention to, so we can pay attention to them. Don't allow yourself to be in a position where somebody have to validate you. You don't need validation. You need self-validation. And I put it, you don't allow somebody to emotionally bankrupt you. Always have a balance. Always have a balance. Don't allow somebody to tell you who you are. Be who you are. Be yourself. Be strong. Be wise.
Oh, 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 oh.